Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Tigers Talk Rugby. Before we get started, I'd once again like to thank Tiger Vision for everything they do for us, providing facilities and equipment. We love doing this in and out every week, and thanks them for sponsoring us. So with that, I'm Ethan Richards.
I'm CJ Bakel, and I would like to introduce a new member to the team. So I would like to first introduce Beckett Rice. He is the current secretary for the Clemson Men's Rugby Club, but now we're bringing him on as our chief of branding. So we'd like to give him a nice warm welcome.
Yeah, so
thanks, guys. It's great to be here. Great to be a part of the team.
So we have to bring you on the show for your first time. So we got a good one for you.
Oh,
yeah, he's going to be helping out. So to give a little bit of an idea of what he'll be doing with us, like he'll be helping out with the social media stuff and reaching out to companies and helping us get to things like we want to get our podcast on Spotify, which is a goal for this season's podcast, and we're trying to go to a couple games like the ATL rugby game, since that's pretty local for us, and he'll be joining us for those experiences as well.
Yeah, and trying to reach out to those teams and maybe get a little sideline passes and stuff like that. So he might
get some media passes.
Get a little bit of
fingers
little
crossed
and
on
things
that.
like that. But yeah. So again, welcome to the team, and why don't we first start off with some news from the last week?
Yeah. So some big news from this weekend for the USA 7 side. It's been a rough start for the HSBC 7 series this year, but when we played in Sydney this past weekend, we finally medaled. We placed third. We beat England in the third place match, and finally are starting to put ourselves on the board. We now tied with Australia for points, and hopefully with the next 6 tournaments to go, we will push ourselves and raise ourselves higher in the standing and maybe achieve what we did last year with placing second.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. It's not as good as what we hoped compared to last year. Last year becoming second place only to behind Fiji. Not bad.
The good news is they've already qualified for the Olympics.
That's
so
true.
Now it's just, I guess, sort of this season, they just got to work out what's going wrong and figure out what they did last season and get back to that, so that by the time the Olympics rolls around, they'll be ready to go.
And a good thing also is that they're at full health. They have basically all their key players back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see us rise in the standings as time goes on.
Maybe we'll be a little bit more experimental. Who knows?
Hopefully. That'd be awesome. So, in other news, CJ?
In other news, some Super Rugby news. I have a couple headlines. The Sunwolves beat the Melbourne Rebels 36-27. So some might say this is upset. I don't think so.
We know how you feel about anything
Japanese rugby. I'm a big fan of it. Like I said, I predicted Japan stealing everybody's hearts in the World Cup, and I'm never going to live that down. And with the Sunwolves, I think that they're going to do better this year. Obviously, they've already won game in the first round, so that's great for them.
Undefeated.
Yeah, they're undefeated.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they could stay that way. But and then also the Jaguares won at the same time, and I think this is the first week in a couple years that both the Jaguares and the Sunwolves have won in the same week.
For those listening, if you're interested and you enjoy watching Super Rugby, we'd love to know when the last time the Jaguares and the Sunwolves won in the same weekend.
Might never happened.
Yeah. Because I personally, I can't think of a time off the top of my head, because I feel like that's finally showing that other regions, other than what's considered the power regions in Super Rugby,
the Big Three.
Yeah, the Big Three are showing some prowess early on in the league.
Well, I mean, Jaguares last year made it all the way to the final.
That's true.
They're one game away from winning the whole thing. So
yeah.
They've had big improvements.
It's just nice to see that consistency.
Yeah, exactly. They're continuing it.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. In some sports, you see a team they'll go all out and
they
get
have
to the finals. And then the next year they're at the bottom of the table.
Like a fluke season, Leicester in the soccer premiership a couple years ago had.
Right.
big season and then dropped off.
Right, exactly. And so I want to see Jaguares succeed a lot more this year
Yeah, no
again.
bias down on this side of the table, but I definitely want to see the Jaguares succeed.
Oh, yes.
That's
totally.
my team for everybody who needs to know. They beat the Lions 38-8.
Yeah.
And I'm
It's good.
big
win.
fan of that because who doesn't like
Quite a
South
bludgeoning
African
right
rugby?
there.
So for us, that was our big news for this week. We have one more.
I have
CJ?
one more piece of news. This was not so much a new, like, it's not breaking news. It's not like great news, but it's like idiocy news a little bit. I guess it's like kind of funny
Okay.
that
yeah.
this last weekend the Hurricanes and the Stormers played.
Oh yes.
Oh my goodness.
And they were wearing the same uniform. They were both wearing
Practically.
So
Both in the same blue.
The Hurricanes, who normally play in yellow, like a bright yellow, ended up playing in their blue uniforms against the Stormers, whose home uniforms are blue.
Yeah.
So when you look at the highlights, yeah, you just watching like guys in blue fly all the.
It looks like a scrimmage.
Try to figure out which team
Yeah,
these
it looks
players on.
wild.
I'm sure they were trying to figure that out too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the
Very,
Hurricanes were trying to figure it out too because they didn't put up a single point. It was the Stormers stomped them 27-0. So I guess the Hurricanes were seeing double.
Yeah.
Maybe
I mean,
Bowden Barrett was in charge of
Ouch.
So,
jersey selection. And sending them out.
Well, I guess now that he's with the Blues.
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
blue jerseys. Oh,
Wow.
I just think it's kind of funny.
Yeah. No, that's a colossal
blunder.
screw up.
That's a
In honesty, like it's not that hard when you're selecting jerseys to be like, oh, well, their home jersey's blue, so maybe we shouldn't wear blue, you know?
I mean, at that level, you cannot be doing that. That's like a mistake you make in high school.
Yeah.
Not at the
Not at
second
the
highest
pro
level in the world, behind only international rugby.
Yeah.
I mean-
so moving away from the news that we had for this week, let's talk the first weekend of Six Nations.
Yeah. So
To
first game of the weekend was Ireland versus Scotland. Ireland won 19-12, and looks like Johnny Sexton had a day.
Yeah, so
did.
Beckett, you want to elaborate on some of that?
Oh well. For first off, the score 19-12. It really could have gone either way. Scotland had 2 tries that they just whiffed on. Stuart Hogg, right in front of the line, as he was going to dot it down, knocks it on. There's 7 points that they don't have.
Unfortunately.
Although it was at a hard angle, so maybe it would have been 5, but still. And then Maitland had a nice interception, but didn't have the legs, and Ian Henderson was able to track him down, and Scotland ran through 2 more phases and got called for holding the ball in the ruck and lost the ball. So the 2 tries there would have numerically allowed them to win unless maybe something else happened. Johnny Sexton was fantastic in the game.
He put up 19 points. He put up every single point that Ireland had.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
between the try that was quite beautiful.
Nice little quick hands from Cian Healy and Connor Murray to Johnny Sexton in space. Great try. Beautiful try. Nice soft hands from a big man. You like to see it.
Oh yeah, and converting his own kick, and then
Oh, yeah.
putting up the rest of the points, like in the penalty kicks he had achieved. Not to say that there weren't a couple mistakes for Ireland.
Oh,
Obviously,
not at all.
Giving Scotland easy penalty kicks themselves with 4 early in each half. Well, roughly, definitely early in the first, but it's showing that they are still like fallible to do that after their World Cup performance where that was an issue.
Well, I think it shows perhaps the progression of Scotland under Townsend. I mean, they were out without
true.
Finn Russell for this game, and a lot of people probably wrote them out because, they don't have Finn Russell. But they very nearly, this game easily could have been a draw or a win for Scotland.
Yeah, because you look at the possession statistics, and it's like Scotland was pretty even, 51-49 in favor of Ireland, and then the territory was 46-54 in favor of Scotland. So the stats show that it was a very even game. just like across the board. Like tackles were about the same at 170. Missed tackles, there's about 20 each. Each had like had 7 turnovers via knock on. So it seems like it was an even match. I think that if they had Finn Russell, then that would put them over.
Or if they just hadn't Stuart Hogg just hadn't knocked it on.
Yeah, if Stuart Hogg,
still
so
think Finn
theoretically
Russell
it would have
able
been
to
a 2-point game or
Or a draw.
or
It'd be
draw.
a tie. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, like, when you look at it, in a situation like that, like, you say, like, just based off of the points that they missed with that, like, it would have been a 2-point game at the minimum.
Yeah, exactly.
But the momentum that comes with a try score is pretty imperative.
Oh, yeah. Well, unlike most sports in rugby, you get the ball back after you score. So that's a big thing, you know. Unlike football or soccer, where the other team gets the ball, so it really shifts it.
Yeah. So on that note,
The next match.
speaking of momentum and game control, Wales obliterated.
Smacked
It was
Italy.
quite a
It was
bludgeoning.
Wales 42, Italy 0, and there was tries coming from Josh Adams, Nick Tompkins, and George North for Wales.
It's
A lot of try.
yeah.
A lot of
It's-
tries.
There was a disallowed try, too, because of a knock-on. So it could have been even worse.
Yeah, and it's again like this game.
Jeez.
You look at the possession though. Like you look at what the game looked like on TV. Like possession is a big thing for the visual part of the sport. Italy had the ball for over half the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it just like it's tough to look at Italy and be like, how did you not do more?
Okay, here's also an interesting statistic for you that Wales had 10 turnovers via knock-on. Like I think that's pretty insane that they turned over the ball basically 10 times just by miss hands basically, and Italy still wasn't able to capitalize at all. But another stat to come from it was Wales had 563 meters run. Oh my gosh.
Well, I mean, I didn't get to see the game, but I watched the highlights and I was able to follow along in the score. Wales, I think you could definitely see just the difference in coaching and talent between Wales and Italy. With that being said, there's a bit of a regime change in Wales as we moved on from Gatlin to Pivac, although he was an assistant under Gatlin, I'm pretty sure. So they're probably still learning a little. Wales, they were a little bit sloppy, so they're probably still learning some of the new things that Pivac is looking to implement into the team. So that was probably where the knock-ons came from, because they're trying to play a little bit more of a free-flowing game, is from what I could tell.
Yeah, so with that, I really don't know if there's much else to say about this game because it clearly shows that Wales is coming into the Six Nations with some prowess and with a will and a want to take the Six Nations.
I'm going to put you on the spot here, Ethan, since you did this to me last week several times.
Okay.
Do you think Italy's missing Sergio Parise right now?
Yeah, I do. I do. I think as a player, he was very key as a leader and a just perspective for the field, and as a individual, his influence on the people around him, I think, was very important.
And then now, Beckett, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
Do you think Georgia should take that spot from Italy?
Ooh.
I think potentially this is sort of
too early to say it?
Well, I mean, you can't say it's too early, because they've been in here 20 years now. It seems sort of like Italy has been regressing lately, because maybe in the early years they would win a few. They haven't won a Six Nation game in, 5, 6 years now?
A while. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
It's been a minute.
So perhaps maybe there could be a relegation system, and the worst team, the winner of the wooden spoon, gets dropped down and replaced with a team like Georgia, who play in the European Championship, I believe, or what is it? The competition below them is
right.
like Romania and
You're right.
Spain. So look at something like that, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe even a team like Romania or Spain to move up and be a part of the Six Nations. That'd be pretty sweet.
It would.
Like have an underdog team come in and maybe win a couple games against some of these big boys.
Yeah. So to further enforce your point a little bit, Italy has not won a Six Nations game since 2015 when they beat Scotland in the last game of
Jeez,
their.
that was a long time.
That's
Yes.
been a while.
Yeah.
2 World Cups ago.
Yeah, and so you look at that and you're like one thing is kind of off topic in a way. A few years ago now, I believe, there was a proposed system in which provided relegations for the entire world in international level rugby.
Yeah.
And so you talked about relegations for the Six Nations a little bit. Did that idea come from what you saw there, or is this something that you just feel you've seen in other sports that you think would benefit this, or it works at lower levels?
Well, yes, partially from that. There were some parts of that plan that I didn't quite agree with too much on it, but I think maybe because the thing is with that plan there was like relegation, and I wasn't sure how it would work logistically because it was for the entire world. I think with relegation you sort of need to make sure it stays within an area.
The region.
The region, yes, because I've seen something. It's like Japan should hop in the Six Nations. I think that would be unfair to Japan because they would have to do so much travel, and also unfair to the other nations in the Six Nations who have to travel all the way to Japan. So
yeah, I agree with that point. I see what you're saying. So maybe split the divisions a little bit harder, and what that
perhaps.
plan was, but moving in the right direction.
Maybe
with it.
we could you could just split it up so it's like Six Nations, keep it solely Europe, right? Just keep it solely to Europe. Have it like a relegation promotion system with that, and then the rugby championship in the southern hemisphere. Maybe you add Japan, and then another team
Potentially
potentially to it, and then see what happens with that.
Do a 6 North, 6 South.
Yeah, exactly. And then maybe the winner of those play each other.
That would be
wild.
That would be pretty cool.
That would be cool. Obviously,
be
we're
very
spitballing
cool.
at this point, theorizing.
This is how we fix the game of rugby.
All right. Well, on that note, let's reel it back in towards the Six Nations.
Let's get off that tangent.
To finish off the weekend's Six Nation games with an unfortunate loss for England against France.
Unfortunate for you.
Yes. So I've got a lot to say about this game. France, for the first 40, arguably the first 55 minutes of the game, France was dominating England in terms of every side of the ball. Their kicking was phenomenal. Their defensive pressure was intense, and England was frankly dropping the ball left and right in comparison, and they were not they couldn't break the line. They weren't. Anytime they tried to make more than a few passes, somebody would drop it or cause a loss or a turnover, and so it was France's game to lose at that point, which is what started to happen in the last 60 minutes.
yeah, I think you talked about France's defense was they applied great pressure to England. I think that comes with their new defensive coach from Wales. Who built up the Welsh defense last few years, which has been
yeah.
So I think that's really helped them, and they have their new head coach Fabien Galith, I think is how you pronounce it.
I'm not sure.
I don't want to.
I don't think I could say
I'm not sure.
His name.
I don't want to do it. So
So a couple stats for you boys. France won obviously 24-17 against England.
Yeah.
Tries coming from Vincent Rotte, Charles Olivion, and also Johnny May on England's side. Possession and territory were heavily in England's favor. England had 61% of the possession and 70% territory, but I think that came in the later minutes
when
of
they
the game.
started,
in garbage time, basically.
I will definitely tell you, when I was sitting there watching the game, England did have quite a bit of possession. They just didn't do much.
Even before the final.
That's what I was talking about when I said like the French defense just continuously drove England back. So like England would run just like a pod right off of the ruck and with just a pop pass to the lead runner, and they would hit the line, take a couple steps backwards from the drive from the defensive ball.
So they weren't getting any go forward.
And they weren't getting any go forward. So their ball, like the time of possession was relatively high in terms of that, that motion. But the issue was they weren't doing anything when they had possession. And that's what I mean by like France's defense was just so aggressive. And eventually they started moving towards a kicking game and putting it out and forcing the ball into the French territory and consistently making it within the 5 meter and dropping the ball, like where you were talking about Stuart Hogg.
Yeah.
England was doing having very similar issues of dropping the ball very close to the try zone, or when they were diving for the try and driving to dot it down. It just like it was a big issue for me watching that happen, especially like France's team is very young.
Yes, it is.
This is the team made up of French like players who've been a part of like the major success that
At the
France
U20s, yes,
has had. Like they are now filtering into this international roster and filtering in with fire.
Absolutely. I think it might be showing a bit of a turnaround for France, and potentially could be I think maybe a bit of a dark horse this Six Nations, because I think a lot of people were looking at England and Wales and possibly Ireland to win this.
Right.
But now France has come in.
Especially after those World Cup performances.
Yes, absolutely.
Which I think part of this though, going back to that World Cup, because they did not play this game in the World Cup, France was angry. France needed to prove something here. And
that they're not going to be pushed around by the English.
Well, it's not even that they're getting pushed around. It's just the fact that
they should have been
a contender.
Oh, right.
For that first spot in pool stages. Yeah. And I think this was them turning around and saying like, we can beat this team. Yeah. You know.
I think it's like you said, they had something to prove, because they did they definitely underperformed in the World Cup. They let the USA hang around for the majority of the game they played them, and Tonga was much closer game than it probably should have been.
Yeah.
So who do you guys think are going to win it all for the Six Nations? Or is it too early to say?
I think
I'm putting you on the spot again.
I think it's too early to say
Come on, give me
definitively,
something,
and obviously I'm just
going
to pick England because I'm basic.
No bias
I think it is probably a little bit early to say, because other than Italy, I think all the teams look competitive. Scotland was very competitive with Ireland.
And England
and Wales very competitive. And Wales, they're the reigning Grand Slam champs. I would probably lean towards Wales to probably repeat. Maybe not as Grand Slam winners. I think they might lose one, but.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So I think we've filled all of our conversation for Six Nations.
Yeah. Anything international.
Let's bring it back into the domestic.
Yeah.
We've got, starting this weekend, we've got
so excited for this.
MLR, baby.
The long-awaited return.
So long for this.
Yeah.
It just seems like this offseason was forever.
Oh, but I'm so joyous to know that domestic professional rugby is continuously growing, and it's at a stage where like we can be like, there are competitive teams that we have right now that we can talk about.
Well, yeah, like right now we're gonna go into our predictions for the next weekend.
Oh gosh,
it's gonna be
every
tough.
game. Were we predicting every game?
I mean, come on.
I was not prepared.
It's only 6 games.
It's only 6 games.
Yeah.
Just give me your best.
Yeah. So
you ready? You ready for this?
Well. Let's do a little bit more discussion because there was some.
Oh yeah, that's right. There was some interesting news from this last week. Austin. The Australian takeover in Austin, being now changing their name and logo and branding and everything, I guess, from the Austin Herd to the Austin Gilgronis. Interesting name there.
Very.
But
Although
I
their
think-
logo, I will say, I think their logo is sick.
do you think the logo?
The logo's nice.
I
I
miss
think
the
the
blue.
name.
But have
I
you,
miss the blue. Yeah,
The
I think the
names.
name will grow.
have you seen the new stadium?
Oh,
I have
it
not.
looks
I want to.
So they're
fantastic.
playing
I want
at-
to go.
They're playing at the Circuit of the Americas, which is like a Formula One circuit, but they have a like a soccer stadium
Yeah.
on site
Yes.
that for the Austin Bold, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
I
is
think
their
so.
I think so.
which is like their soccer team, their minor league, or not minor league, but like USL soccer league,
Second
whatever.
league, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
second league team, and that stadium is probably the best one in MLR.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a
Some
beautiful
It
big,
tops it.
some major changes that I think will benefit them in recruiting and whatnot. And I think like if you go to somebody and you be like, oh yeah, this is where we play, you know,
Oh,
like
yeah.
like, and you go to somebody like we're playing at the highest level in the U.S. and we are playing in a beautiful stadium
Right.
against good opponents, like. I think they like, and now they've got this new name change and this brand change.
And maybe Adam Ashley Cooper.
Yeah.
Big
Uh,
signing.
yeah.
Has it not been confirmed yet? I thought it was.
I think they're still in talks right
Oh,
now.
okay.
So I haven't. It's not been posted on their Instagram yet, but it
okay.
has been on the news that if you type in Adam Ashley Cooper's name, it says Adam Ashley Cooper and Jerome Mitchell, I believe, to potentially sign with Austin.
Yes, I think I did see that on America's Rugby News. Is what I
Yeah,
saw.
it says everything that you can find says specifically to sign with.
Yeah, two
Okay,
signed
so he has
with.
not signed
So
yet.
it's not yet, but
not
like
finalized.
I think with this new Australian takeover, it could potentially happen because I think that this the company might be like, okay, if you come and play for our team, we'll give you like a portion of like the revenue or something like that.
All the Gilgronis you can drink.
All the good brownies that you can drink. I love it.
Yeah,
But
so
honestly, I would love to see Adam Ashley Cooper
Oh.
in that burnt orange.
I-
I want to go to Austin now just so I could see him play.
you know,
Well, I
am
don't
going
like
to
burnt
Austin.
orange,
Unfortunately, in July, I will be missing all of the Austin games.
Again, like
I
I've
was
been saying for like the
I've
last
been
couple
waiting-
weeks, it's like this is the MLR is nuts. I want to be able to go see every single team because
Ah.
every single team has like players that are amazing.
Well,
Yeah.
this year just looks, I think, is
Like
so
I want
much
to go
more
see
competitive than last
Ma'ananu.
year.
I want to go see Basta. I want to go see the Beast. I want to go see Ben Foden. I want to go see Adam Ashley Cooper. How am I going to watch all these teams?
For me, I look at Austin and like I want to be like I want to see them succeed. They have not yet.
Yeah.
They have not found
They
success.
Cleveland Browned it last year.
Ouch.
I
So
mean, he's not wrong.
yeah, but I want to see success there. So bringing it back away from that was big news for the MLR because that was the
Well, they also, I'm not sure if they have a new TV rights deal, which is going to be
Yeah.
huge for them.
Yes,
ESPN,
that-
ESPN,
Fox, yeah.
Fox, it's going to be big.
Actually I don't even know if we mentioned that last week.
Yeah, we didn't actually.
so-
but that was a last week news type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He might have.
But I really I'm so excited for this season. Just in like not talking about each individual team, not talking about any of that. I'm excited to watch.
I think it'll
Major
be
League.
the most exciting and the most wide open season they've had so far.
Agreed.
Just there's like the new teams, they're unknown, but they have good players. The Beast in DC, they have great players, and all the old teams have revamped and reloaded their rosters. I mean, you look at Austin with potentially Adam Ashley Cooper, and I think it'll be a great season this year.
Do it. Yeah.
So ready? Okay.
Yes.
So let's
Prediction.
start
All right.
off. So next weekend, the first game is going to be Colorado Raptors and Houston SaberCats. I'm torn.
Yeah.
And it's going to be in Houston at noon.
So
This is the two of my favorite teams.
After watching Nola Gold, fun little story. I was speaking with CJ's dad yesterday.
Kurt Bagel.
Yes.
Shout out again. I know he's going to be smiling right now.
And he was telling me about how Nola Gold waxed Houston in their, I guess,
preseason
match,
friendly. Yeah. And so I had to go try to find what I could on this game. And to me, that just, after what I found and seeing some of the domination that Nola Gold did, I'm going to have to go with Colorado Raptors. I don't see...
But was it the
glimmer from
full Houston roster, or was it more their subs?
It was quite a bit of it.
Okay.
It was. It wasn't. I don't want to be like, oh, it was everyone on their starting roster.
Okay.
But it wasn't. It wasn't a second side.
Okay.
It wasn't. It was definitely
good
had.
side.
Yes, it was a competitive team.
Yeah.
I'm again, these are my two teams. Two big teams.
No, Rooney. Rooney.
On the west side, I should say. On the west. Well, I mean, Colorado. I'm obviously going to cheer for Colorado. And then Houston. Big fan of SaberCats.
I would think...
I think to start off the season, last season they played, and it was at Aviva Stadium, and Houston won. So I'm going to say they're going to repeat it and beat Colorado.
Interesting. I like
While Houston did go on that nice little winning streak at the end of last year to sort of turn around their fortunes, I think Colorado has, while they did stumble a little bit last season, will be much better this year. I think it'll be a close, very competitive game, but I'm going to go with Colorado.
The next match on the list is Old Glory DC versus Nola Gold on Saturday at 4 p.m. This is a tough one.
I'm excited for this.
This will be a good game.
Beast.
I don't feel like we've seen
introduction
enough
of
of
Beast.
Old Glory for me to just be like, oh, it's gonna be Nola or it's gonna be Old Glory. I think this might be a close match because you've got literally a year of preparation from Old Glory. They started early. They came to Clemson to recruit at one of the games this past spring of 2019.
Right.
So they've been preparing for this season.
It's been a long time in
for
the making.
so long. Yes. That I think that they're going into this game with the preparation that they need. So I think it's going to be a close one. But
who do you think's gonna win?
I think now on the other side of the coin,
Jeez.
Nola has the experience in the MLR. They have the players who've been doing this for a while.
But they'll be without Tristan Blewett, who
I think
arguably was their best player last year.
arguably, yes.
He even got to try out for the Saints NFL team.
Yeah. I think as a roster as a whole, because they have the experience in the MLR and how the MLR functions as a league, they will pull out barely a win. Especially because it's at home.
I'm going to have to agree with you, Ethan. I think Nola Gold's going to take this one at home.
I think I'm going to... You can't count out the Beast. I think this...
Even if the Beast... Do you know if the Beast is going to play? That's a big thing, too.
That is... If the Beast plays, I think Old Glory DC should have a real advantage scrum time. And an advantage in the scrums is big. And I think it'll be a close game, but I think DC can pull it out.
So next game on the list potentially will be going to this game. Big potential.
Apologies, I was looking up rosters.
So anyway, Utah Warriors at Rugby ATL at Life University.
I'll be at this game.
Yeah, I know Beckett will be at this game. And we're playing in Atlanta the day before, so.
Same field.
Same field, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to say Atlanta because I want to be a local boy. And I want to root for the local boys. But
think
at the same time,
will
ATL
win.
Rugby has put together a good roster.
Absolutely.
They have a good handful of. Obviously, they released their roster. I
They
believe
have
on Instagram.
yes. They have some international props and Alex Mahan, I think.
Yeah,
is
and then
And Chance
Wengelis, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, so the other point that I want to put together is we were talking about it being at Life University. they have a handful of Life University players who
Yeah.
have played together for years.
Yeah.
They even have the brothers.
They have Duncan Van Schalkwyk,
And-
Harley Van Schalkwyk, or
No,
no,
Harley.
Xander Van
Yes.
Schalkwyk,
Thank
and the
you.
Harley boys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Harley
both
Wheeler, Harley
Wheeler
Davidson.
and Harley Davidson on the team.
How do
Which
you
is
have?
funny because they're, yeah.
Yeah, I mean to have two wings on the
the
on
Harley
the
boys, I love it.
Harley Davidson's the all-time leading try scorer for MLR, I believe.
Yeah, 'cause
I
he
yeah.
was amazing.
He's a
the
great
last couple
player.
seasons.
He was a good finisher.
And then like
Very.
mad respect for Harley Wheeler, you know. He's, you know, big, you know, and on the international sevens roster, plays, you know, for national championships at Life. Like great player. So I think his MLR debut will be like a big one.
Yeah, I think this team has a great debut coming for it.
Yeah.
And then it's again with the MLR expansion draft, they have a couple players who they've pulled from other rosters,
Like Jason.
like Jason Dom, shout out. But and so they're not coming into this as a fresh team that hasn't had time or preparation and doesn't have any MLR experience. They've got the guys, and they've got people who know how to succeed coming into this team. So and because of
Yeah, and they also have the team
I had to
chemistry
pick
because
ATL.
again, a lot of these guys have been playing with each other.
Yeah, and at like lower levels of rugby.
Yeah, they know each other.
Yeah.
That's a big thing.
Yeah, that, we've been saying that we know some of these guys. Like Jason, like we know Jason, like Chance, Harley, Duncan, and Xander.
Yeah.
Like we played with them, we played against them. You know,
We
it seems like that squad is going to have
They have a
great
lot of
team
talent on that
chemistry.
team.
yeah.
And it's a young team too. So
Yeah,
I'm-
very young.
that team is going to be looking good soon.
I'm gonna go with ATL, especially because of it's the home advantage against a team that's traveling halfway across the country.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Next
More than-
game is going to be at
Rooney
versus the New England Free Jacks, the MLR debut for the Free Jacks.
All right, CJ, who are you picking for this one?
No bias.
No bias. I think Rooney's going to win this one.
I'd have to agree.
If Basta's playing, I think he's going to put up some serious numbers.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
Same
go
with
with you
Ben
on this
Foden.
one. I think Rooney had some moments last year that showed some gleaming of hope and whatnot. And
They have a very talented pack and very talented back line.
yeah,
It's a-
and they have experience within high levels of rugby. That
the highest levels.
yeah,
with
the
them.
highest levels of rugby. And I think they between their purely MLR experience and their level of talent and knowledge and age that they have, I think they outclass New England. But
Absolutely.
not to say that I would love to see a new team come in and
Get smashed. I'd like to see him be competitive.
yes, yeah. I would love to see them come in and like make it a 3-point game where they're up and winning at 3 points with 78 minutes into the
Yeah.
game.
Give them a good challenge.
I think, if there was to be an upset this weekend, I think New England Free Jacks will probably pull it off.
Oh, I like that. All right, so I think the biggest opening weekend game on
baby.
Sunday, Seattle versus San Diego. So we've got the two-time
Rematch.
champions versus arguably the second best team from last year.
Now with Maunanu.
Yeah,
Now with
yeah.
Ma'ananu.
Yeah, now.
Featuring Ma'ananu.
He'll give my Seawolves a bit of trouble, I'm sure.
Oh, really?
I
Yeah.
see what with
You
every
don't
team.
have any bias towards the Seahawks.
Not at all.
Not
no.
at-
Me? No, never.
But again, this is also at Torero Stadium where
It is.
the championship was played last season.
But Seattle's won both their championships at Torero Stadium. So is it really that big of a home field advantage?
But I like
That's a
this.
very valid point.
I like the branding and the media and everything about in this game that they're making it as if this is like the rivalry.
Oh, yeah.
Like I think that this is probably.
I
the
think this
best
is the rivalry
Yeah,
in the
this
West.
is the biggest rival. No, I think this is the biggest rivalry.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean,
Absolutely.
I don't think because half the teams on the East are new. I don't think you can define an Eastern
The
rivalry.
only
I mean,
other
the only one I
rivalry.
can think is like Houston and Austin, but like.
I think the Seawolves and the Raptors for a little bit there had a rivalry going.
Yeah,
but I think
that's
it's
also true.
for the first year.
First year, yes, just because they were two top dogs.
Yeah.
But-
So I don't want to predict this game. I'm gonna be honest.
You gonna call a tie?
No,
No,
I'm
come
not gonna call a
on.
tie.
You're part of.
I
you're
will
part of
say.
the
I will
media,
say.
buddy.
Because
Give me your take.
the Seawolves are coming off of such good success, and they're not afraid to go to this stadium and play their heart out and dominate teams. I think the Seawolves will take it.
No bias here. I think I'm going with the Seawolves too. Their forward depth, I think, is probably the best in the league. Just the amount of quality back rowers and locks, and even some frontals
led by
they can put
Rickard
there.
Hatting is. I
Yes.
think it's gonna be a good one.
And Brad Tucker,
And
Player
Brad
of the Year.
All right,
But I
CJ.
still think San Diego's gonna win.
Okay.
With
Okay.
Ma'ananu.
Okay.
We'll see.
So we'll talk about it next week. Last game, Toronto Arrows versus Austin Herd.
Gilgronis.
Gilgronis.
Excuse me, Gilgronis. It's funny on the schedule. It still says
Yeah, it
Herd.
still says
Just-
Austin
needs
Herd.
So
little tweak there.
but I think this is probably the biggest question mark game for most.
Why?
Because Toronto still have to travel to Austin.
Right.
Austin has done a lot
Of
in this
revamping, yes.
off season to try to fix the problems that they've had these past 2 years. I think this game. I think Austin to me is more of a question mark than anything, because maybe they won't have success this week or next week or the third week, but come week 4, week 5, week 6,
They won't go winless this time.
I don't
Absolutely
think
not.
they will go winless. I think they will be more competitive than they've been.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I think that their winless streak is going to continue.
Now that being said, I think Toronto's going to win this
Oh
game.
yeah, Toronto's.
I
gonna
think
win this
their
game.
winless streak will continue, but it'll be a draw. They're not going to lose. Their losing streak will end, but their winless streak will continue. Is what I'm thinking.
Ooh, hot takes.
I mean, last year we had a lot of draws that I think were a lot of surprises. And I think with this team, Toronto Arrows are very talented. They have experience in the playoffs. But I think Austin Herd, just the fact that they have home field advantage in their nice new stadium, and then the revamping they've done, I think they'll be competitive and it'll be a draw. So.
Wow. And also because it's week 1, and because
Anything
you're
can
going,
happen.
Yes,
more
exactly.
so anything can happen because it's harder to prepare for those opponents.
Yeah.
So I really like that.
It's going to be a great weekend.
That
Absolutely.
prediction. I think you are the bravest person in the room by trying to predict a draw.
Yeah.
That's
There's bound to be a draw eventually. So.
true. That's true.
Why not this week?
Yeah. So
On that bombshell.
yeah, we're gonna wrap up the episode. So we're gonna do a little bit of an extra segment that you'll see released a little later. Last week's we did taking professional rugby players specifically from Six Nations rosters and putting them into an NFL team. So
This next upcoming bonus segment, we will do
the other
opposite.
way. So yeah,
Very excited.
thank you very much for listening.
We'd like to say thank you to Tiger Vision, as always. Again, we can't do this without y'all. And like always, guys, go watch some rugby. Our game of the week is going to be Seattle versus San Diego. Come on, you can watch it. It's going to be on
It's gonna be a
CBS.
fantastic game.
Yeah.
It's at
CBS
5
SN.
p.m. on Sunday. You've got nothing to do. Might as well watch it.
Yeah. So on that, I'm Ethan Richards,
And I'm CJ Bagel.
and this was another episode of Tigers Talk Rugby. Thank you.